Hello, welcome to gusmcdoll Strategy and Tactics, and thank you to our subscribers. In this series, we play through the 16 operations of the German Grand Campaign in Close Combat 3, the Russian Front. Please remember to subscribe, comment, share with your friends, and like the video. And if you want to show your support with a small donation, the links are in the description. It is day 2 of 7 on Operation 9 of 16. Backhand blow, Manstein's attack. Our supply situation is steadily improving, while intelligence indicates the Bolshevists might be running low on replacements and reinforcements. Refit or replace any armour you have and then press your advantage. Once again, you'll be attached to the 6th Panzer Division. If the enemy is deployed in the village, just east of the river, target the stone buildings, since the Russians are more apt to seek their protection. The frozen ground offers good footing for any armour or vehicles in your command. You can use half-tracks to hit any Russian infantry and then run before their heavy weapons hit you. If the enemy is deployed farther east, use care when you cross the open ground. It's sure to be covered by tanks or anti-tank weapons. Our tanks lack the mobility of the enemy's T-34. Try to use superior numbers to offset any tanks lost to poor traction. Don't let the enemy stop you here. You need all the buildings you can capture to survive the cold. We start the operation with the same forces from the last battle. Von McDowell, Commander Panzer 4F2. Group Leader, Commander Behorden 1942. Heavy Infantry, Fallschirmjäger Sturmgrenadier 1942. Heavy Infantry, Sturmgrenadier 1942. Heavy Infantry, Sturmgrenadier 1942. Machine Gun Infantry, Maschinengewehr 42. Machine Gun Infantry, Maschinengewehr 42. Medium Tank, Panzer 4F2. Medium Tank, Panzer 4D. Heavy Anti-Tank Gun, 8.8cm Flak 36. Heavy Anti-Tank Gun, 8.8cm Flak 36. Anti-Tank Carrier, Sonderkraftfahrzeug 251x10. Another anti-tank carrier, also with a 3.7cm Panzerabwehrkanone. And medium mortar 8cm Granatwerfer. We now have 179 requisition points and a vacant slot. I want to boost the armoured element of the Kampfgruppe. Okay, so our Panzer 4F2 is the heaviest tank available from the regular forces. And some interesting variants and tank destroyers. What about the elite forces? A bigger selection of tanks and other armoured vehicles. Oh hello, a Panzer 6E, that is, a Tiger 1. Let's have a look. Heavy tank Panzer 6E. This heavy tank relies on armour and firepower. It moves slowly and is not manoeuvrable. The Tiger's 8.8cm main gun has one-shot knockout power. Use it in any armour role, reconnaissance in force, infantry support, or anti-tank defence. The team is equipped with Bau MG34, Coax MG34, Smoke Discharger, another Smoke Discharger, 8.8cm L56 cannon, and 5 Walther P38 pistols for the crew. Yes, please. And that is Kampfgruppe McDowell. Let's examine the terrain and develop a plan. The village of Boguslav lies along the road from Krasnograd to Kupiansk. The village is next to the river, frozen now in winter and crossed by a sturdy bridge. I've marked 5 areas. Number 1, the bridge. This stone and concrete structure crosses the frozen river along the road from Krasnograd to Kupiansk. The bridge is sturdy and will support the weight of the armoured vehicles and supply trucks of the 6th Panzer Division. Woods either side of the river offer some screening and concealment. The frozen river itself can support the weight of vehicles. And the riverbanks can act like a large natural trench line. Number 2. The village of Boguslav. The village lies along the axes of two roads, one roughly north-south, the other the east-west road from Krasnograd to Kupiansk. Where the roads meet is a prominent two-storey building that provides observation and fields of fire over the surrounding area. Another two-storey building is just to the north. The wooden buildings of the village offer concealment to infantry and possibly anti-tank guns, and some cover. Careful observation by the Germans has revealed the buildings to the west are empty. Number 3. The area south of the village. The area is bounded by woods adjacent to the river on the west and a small spur on the southeast. The spur offers good observation to the east, but also some terrain shielding to the west. Otherwise, the area has no cover or concealment and is easily observed from the village. Number 4. The open fields either side of the road near Hans' house. There is no cover or concealment in these fields. Assaulting from the village to Hill 195 over this open ground would be extremely risky. Number 5. The ridgeline of Hill 195. The road runs through a defile in the ridgeline, along which are a number of wooden buildings. A large two-storey building sits on the ridge, dominating the surrounding area. The reverse slope of the ridgeline would make an excellent concealed forming up location or mortar base plate location. Key terrain includes the bridge, the village, and Hill 195. All of these locations can threaten the road to Kupiansk. Decisive terrain is the road to Kupiansk, which is vital to the continued advance of the 6th Panzer Division. Avenues of approach for the Germans include across the bridge and from the open area to the south. I assess the enemy are in defence, with a mixed force of tanks and infantry. The Russians could choose to defend forward in the village of Boguslav. The infantry could use the two roads as fire lanes, with squads and possibly machine guns sighted to fire down the roads. Another squad might be placed in the two-storey building to the north, covering the bridge. A tank or anti-tank gun might also cover this area. And there might be a mortar near Hans' house. The advantage of this approach is that it forces the Germans to cross the roads to get into the buildings, and then fight for each building. The disadvantage is that the position lacks depth, and control of Boguslav means control of the road. Alternatively, the Russians could plan a defence in depth, giving up the town but using the large stretch of open ground to the east of Boguslav as their engagement area. An outpost squad could occupy Hans' house and bring machine gun fire onto the flanks of advancing German infantry in the open. Another squad could occupy the two-storey building on the ridgeline and engage the Germans at maximum range. And a third squad might occupy the buildings in the defile. Tanks or anti-tank guns could take Hill 195 and the ridgeline and engage German tanks at long range, then take their time machine gunning the German infantry as they advance. The advantage of this approach is the use of open ground as a natural obstacle, as deadly as any minefield if covered by fire. The disadvantage of this approach is that the Germans can use the bridge without interference to bring forward reinforcements, and then win the firefight by firing from cover in the village. The first approach the Germans might consider is to conduct an infantry attack from the south. The infantry would rush forward and get a foothold in the south end of the village, then work their way north, clearing each building as they go. The initial advance would be obscured by mortar smoke between the spur and the village, and the attack would be supported by a heavy weight of fire: 4 tanks, 2 8.8cm guns, and 2 MG42 firing from buildings. The half-tracks would remain concealed on the other side of the river as a commander's reserve. The advantage of this approach is the heavy weight of fire will suppress any Russian defenders in the village. The disadvantage is that it involves an infantry attack over open ground during daylight, and exposes the right flank of the attack to fire from Hill 195. The second approach the Germans might consider is an infantry assault from the west, covered by 3 support by fire locations firing from different angles. The infantry would concentrate in the buildings south of the bridge and advance under cover of mortar smoke. Once they break into the Russian defensive position, they would clear from building to building. 3 tanks at the bridge form the first support by fire location. The tanks can also move around as required in support of the infantry advance. The second support by fire location consists of 2 fixed MG42 firing from the woods to the south. The third location consists of 3 8.8cm anti-tank guns, one in the Tiger, covering east of the village. They are protected from infantry attack by the 2 half-tracks. The advantages of this approach include that the infantry attack is launched from a minimal distance from the buildings. No crossing open ground. The multiple support by fire locations isolate the village from reinforcement and also isolate each building in the village from the others. And 2 of the 3 are firing at right angles to the axis of attack. The Kampfgruppe has the mission to make it possible for the division to advance by forming a bridgehead. The bridge is damaged. The village is held by the enemy. So far, the counterattack is going well, and the Kampfgruppe is advancing. Village by village, they are clearing the road to Kupiansk. But despite the destruction of the tank factory at Stalingrad only months ago, the Russians do not seem to be running short of tanks. Each time he encounters the Soviets, more T-34 seem to appear. Up ahead, another village on the far side of another frozen river. And perhaps more Russian tanks. I've now moved my troops into position and will execute the plan in real time. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the various courses of action and if you've identified a viable alternative. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more great strategy and tactics content. And so we begin. Within seconds, the 120mm mortar in the village is knocked out by the tanks of the bridge. And the Tiger tank knocks out a T-34 near Hill 195. Zeltmann in the Panzer IV F2 advances up the riverbank. The infantry hold their positions. Achtung Panzer! A T-34 Flame and KV-1S are knocked out together. No sign of Russians north of the village. Just some old tank hulks covered by snow.
Truppe umgruppiert. Stellung eingenommen.
Time now for the infantry attack.
Противник предложил прекращение огня.
The mortar opens a smoke barrage
Truppe umgruppiert.
and walks rounds up the street. Achtung Panzer, east of the village in the open ground. Baumann aims. Hit at 170 meters. It keeps coming. A T-34. Draw. Somewhat sudden and unexpected. The battle ended because the Russians fled the battlefield. The Germans gained control of the area and will advance. The Germans did not suffer any losses in men or equipment. Russian losses were 2 killed, 3 wounded, 3 tanks destroyed, and 1 120mm mortar destroyed. Another 10 seconds would have seen a 4th tank destroyed. Let's examine the Kampfgruppe. Surprisingly, no new medals. Not enough time, I suppose. Gefreiter Bayerlein in von McDowell's Panzer is credited with the 120mm mortar. The Tiger I immediately proves its worth, with credit for a T-34 kill shared between Oberpanzerschützen von Schmerling and Struve. The 8.8cm guns had another great day at the office. Lieutenant Ohlmeier and Gefreiter Hahnemann share credit for the KV-1S kill, and Lieutenant Baumann and Gefreiter Stoller share credit for the T-34 flame tank kill. Some slight improvements across the Kampfgruppe. So, what did we learn? First, the battle only lasted around 90 seconds of game time, something of a record. In other words, the battle took less time than my planning, which is not a bad thing. Better to win than fight. While I did not get to demonstrate a textbook infantry assault on the village, there is still an important lesson. German doctrine emphasised the importance of emplacing support by fire positions before the infantry launched their assault. The reason should be obvious. In this battle, the support by fire positions essentially won the battle before the infantry were even committed. No complaints from the infantry. And some nice warm billets for the night. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. And stay tuned for the next episode.